Obviously tough loss last night. Came down to the wire. Obviously Zen's here today, so we'll talk about kicking and we'll talk about stats. But really tough game. Really, from a standpoint of how fast and hard the defense have played and putting themselves in position to get some of those turnovers and just falling short, not being able to get some of those, that would have been a significant change in the output of the game or the outcome of the game, whatever the case may be. And then really on offense, how special Michael was, particularly those last three drives of the game, and some of the things he was able to do situationally, some of the things he was able to do from a time standpoint, some of the things he was able to do from a physical standpoint, getting the ball down the field or making the right decisions. And we just didn't play well enough on special teams, which is really uncharacteristic for us. And we got to get better there. And with that, I can just kind of open up questions.
Yeah, Coach, could you discuss your kicking situation moving forward?
Obviously, man, we talk about these positions all the time, right? Your kicker, your quarterback, your head coach, and most of the time your tackles, can be the centerpiece of anything in this game, like a golfer. So, it'll always be very critical on him. And then obviously this week, missing that field goal that time in order to tie it is always going to be one of the critical points that we talk about. And we got to bring in competitive edge. We got to go out there and look. We got to go out there and bring in people to compete. We'll do that accordingly like we always do, but, it definitely creates more of a sense of urgency to be able to have that competitive edge for Koo, for all of us, and to put ourselves in those positions to do the right thing for our football team at all costs. Now, that's where we're at. And, it's about the process you got to go through from a physical and a mental standpoint, from whether you're the kicker, the quarterback, the head coach, to whatever the case may be, and put yourself in position to go out there and compete no matter what the circumstances are.
Just to clarify, sorry, Mark. So you said that you guys will have to go out.
Yeah, we got to go out. It's only, like we always talk about, we always create those competitive moments and find people, whether it be workouts or whatever the case may be. And if we are lucky enough and fortunate enough to sign somebody that looks good enough to come in and compete, that we feel like we do it throughout the week, we possibly can. But we'll keep scouring. And then, in the meantime, we got to line up, we got to kick it, we got to make it, and we got to go through our process.
So it's cool at this point on Monday, September 8th.
You have to say that right now, but tomorrow's got to be a workout. We'll work out some veterans, we'll work out a couple young guys, up and comers. We'll keep all those things going. There's no secrets around here how we go about our business. There'll always be a highly competitive atmosphere. There'll always be a highly competitive deal. Obviously we have a young man in building that is more of a young up and comer developing prospect, but we'll definitely look at outside and inside the building.
And he's not someone that you think is ready. Talking about Lenny Creek, he's not ready right now.
I wouldn't say that. I would just say we're going to go look at some veterans as well, along with some young up-and-comers, and we have one in our building that we talked about in Lenny.
Got it.
So it's been since 6-3 last year. It's been 4 games now where the kicking has directly impacted the outcome of the game.
Yes.
It feels systemic at this point, that it's not addressed. I mean, have you had legitimate conversations with you and Terry and everybody else about this has to get fixed, and now you can't keep losing games this way? It's not sustainable.
100%, Steno. I think those conversations are always ongoing. Last year we know that it factored into injury and some of those things. So, when you're talking about it being that way, you had to factor those factors in. Us bringing in the kicker last year to finish the game for the season for us last year, us having to do some of those things because of that. That's the part of the physical part. You're always worried about the mental part when you're talking about the kicker, the quarterback, the head coach, and all those things. So, you had to factor those things in. That's what the offseason was for, bringing in Lenny, having some competition there. Having those guys in the offseason, having a really great offseason when it came to his body development, his growth, his mentality, his percentage when it came to the kicks, when you guys were out there charting just like us, all looked good. And then for it to show up in the first game, it obviously creates the automatic panic that we're all going to go into, like we're going to do, in order to find out who can come in and help us, or whether we can stay the course and still figure out how to get it done.
How do you measure? When you bring guys in, look at this. How do you measure what you're looking for? I mean, look, it's a very binary system. Either it goes to the uprights or it doesn't.
There's no doubt, man.
Right.
I'm not going to sit. You're right, though, Stan. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm the most critical kicker and what happened, what went wrong. All you know about is does it go in or does it not, for the most part. But you do have professionals and you do have experts in the house. Can go out there and look at some of the things you're looking for, whether it's the pop, the distance, the length, the consistency, whatever those things are, to try to figure out so they can help us make some of those decisions. But those will always be factors into everything that you're talking about. And some of it comes with experience. Some of it comes being in that moment. So some of those things always happen, man. It's like the golfer. Some of those guys got experience. And they know when to swing it. They know what to swing. They know what club to pull out. And you got to fall back on some of those things.
One more quick one. You told me last year that it does affect the way you coach when your kicker game is suspect.
Yes.
Are you at that point already after 1 week where in a game situation you have to evaluate, go for it, punt it, kick the field goal kind of deal? I mean, does it factor into your game plan already?
That's what happened yesterday, yes. You have to say yes, right? When it goes down that way and you got to make some of those decisions, it's always going to factor in, particularly when you don't make them. These are the hard truths in what we do. These are the hard things that happen, and you got to be honest with your kicker. And my kicker's cool, and I had to be honest with him, talk about those things with him, and we had great, honest conversations today, and we'll continue to be that way because I do have confidence in him, and I have seen him win games for me before. I have seen him tie it, and last night did help, with everything that I've said and everything that we've been through, but he did have an outstanding offseason, kicking the 90% that we talked about, and then last night does not look good, when you bang one off the upright to go in on an extra point, and then you miss that one to send us in overtime. It definitely affects you.
That's like what I was asking, Raheem. Was that an extra red flag? The fact that almost missed the first one as well.
That's got to be, Mark. That's like the human nature will make that a red flag for you in everything that you do. And then obviously, like we talked about with Steno, does it go in, or do you miss? And that's the ultimate red flag.
What did you make of just the performance of Elijah Wilkinson in his start yesterday?
It's really hard to talk about just Elijah Wilkinson. We didn't play particularly well up front, and that showed in the run game. You don't go out there planning to throw the ball 42 times with your young quarterback. You want to go out there being established and running, but to get some of those things going. And when it shifts to having to get some easy completions and Mike having to really control the clock with his arm and being able to get some easy completions out there and throw some timing and rhythm passes in order to get some of those things going, that's not how you want to go, particularly up front. Elijah, you felt good about everything except for the false starts, right? You got 2 false starts that you got to eliminate, and those are things that are going to happen. You don't want them things to happen at home. That's the greatest environment you're going to be able to play in. And when you get to the road zone, they're going to get tougher. So he'll get better and better as we go. But to go out there and execute and do things that we need to get done, sure, no problem. From a protection standpoint, you felt good because you did drop back 42 times and get sacked once. You got hit a couple more times than you wanted to, but that wasn't all on one person. That was all across the board, how you spread it out and all of those things. But Elijah gives us a chance to win every single game, and he'll get better and better as we go. But for his first start, to go out there and us to be in a situation that we was in, particularly those last 3 drives of the game, for Michael to be able to get on the field and have the confidence with the protection, have the confidence in being able to execute the offense, felt good.
Coach, you mentioned the struggles with rushing attack. What can you do, or what can this team do better to improve that rushing attack? Or is it just as much a credit to what Vita Vea and this Bucs front can do?
First off, I want to start off by giving those guys credit. They're tough. They're always tough to run against. They always have been. But we could be better in what we do, and we will be. I got so much confidence in Chris. I got so much confidence in Bergeron and Newsel and Jake, and now Elijah, our 2 running backs, our plan, everything, our coaching staff, all those things. We've run the ball well here for a long time in a bunch of different ways, and we'll figure that out. We just didn't get going yesterday.
Raheem, the defense, 15 pressures, 1 sack, a lot of opportunities, interceptions, but no interceptions. Is the message this week kind of finishing when you're in position there?
That's always kind of the message, Will, and you're so right. But it was more than just even the 1 sack, man. It was the 2, 3 missed sacks that could have been, and it'd be a completely different conversation. Particularly that last one in 2 minutes that we just missed the layup on. And I know that burns Caden, and you can say it. And I know that this is not a blame him because all those things happen in all types of plays, but. That's a big, significant difference, man. You're talking about a 3rd and 18 potentially as opposed to the 3rd and 8 that he scrambled for and got the first down, right? That's huge, and that is discomforting. And then also, it was probably about 5 mix-ups, on picks. A couple of them a little tougher than the other ones. Maybe AJ's a little bit tougher. Maybe Divine's a little bit tougher that he didn't pull in. But the 2 that your young safety could have grabbed that were great job by him. A lot of credit to him for even getting in the position to be there. Doing the right things, putting yourself in that position to possibly make that play. And then, obviously the one with Caden on the sideline could have been a walk-in touchdown. And, those are big-time factors, right? And then we talked about the ball being like oxygen around here, and it became the truth last night. We get some of those. We're talking about a different ball game.
With Mike throwing 42 times, I know a lot of this is game-dependent.
Yes.
It changes week to week. But essentially for a guy who's only made his 4th start, a rookie.
No doubt.
His 5th start. It feels like a lot. From a numbers standpoint, do you go into a given week with a sort of a pitch count idea of how much you want him to throw? And again, I know it varies based on the opponent, but for young quarterbacks to throw that much, more often than not, it tends to lead to mistakes than not.
No doubt.
In the case of Mike, but
So The only thing I can say is I agree with you on this one. It's like you don't go into it. You don't go into it saying let's go ahead and throw the ball 50 times with a young quarterback. You don't go into it with an old quarterback really feeling that way. Like a seasoned vet. Yesterday, the way the game played out, that gave us the best chance to win, and Mike certainly proved that in those last 3 drives, and what he was able to do, going out there, getting some easy completions for us, whether it was Kyle Pitts, whether it was Ray, whether it was Drake. The couple of plays he made on 3rd down to Casey Washington over in the corner at the X position. Some of the plays that he made in the check down to Bijan. He did an outstanding. Some of the times he had to use his legs. He showed him a 2-man. He was able to scramble up the middle and get a significant gain. Showed him a couple of plays in the red zone where it becomes a scramble game. And the play made on 4th down, and I believe it was 3-2, to extend his body that way and reach for the 1st down in the needed situations and know when you can put the ball out, know when you can't. I can't say enough about the high-level execution by him. The 11-second play when the ball has to go up and down so you can still have time to kick that game-tying field goal. Up and down, no mistakes, no thought about it. Don't pull that thing back down because this thing gets tackled and bound. This game is over, and I'm talking to Steno about this on Monday. So to watch him go through those things is promising. No, Steno, I don't want to go out there and plan to throw it 40 times.
Raheem, was it important, though, all the types of games he could have played, seeing him out to control with touch throws and timing throws and things like that? Was that important for you to see in week 1 to know, hey, he's got that in him, we can turn this game this way if we need to?
I wouldn't say it was important for me to see because I've seen it. We practice that way at times, and we do that in practice, and we set them up. And, I was really confident watching him do those things. And I know that was kind of something, a knock on him coming out of college with, completion percentage and being able to get to the checkdowns or some of those things. But, really – I've said this a bunch of times, but when he got here, he showed us some different things that we didn't even know. We knew about the big arm. We knew about the arm down the field. We knew about the poise of the young man. And then when we got here, I'm like, whoa, I don't know. This check down thing might be a little overrated. Watch him pepper the ball around and, some of those things. He's pretty good at that. So, no, but to see it happen in that type of game when it had to happen was certainly nice to see.
Did you feel like Tampa was kind of guarding over the top and preventing some of those deeper throws? Because he was 0 for 7 on targets that were 15 or more yards on field, which is not what we've seen from him previously. He's been extremely good.
I didn't do that stat, but what I did see and notice just from a game flow, because I'll go back and look at it now that you said that, but what I did see from a game flow was they did a nice job of double teaming over the top, like you're talking about, whether it was Drake or, in yesterday's case, really Drake, right? Taking away those shots on Drake, making you force the ball to go other places. And he did, hence the 3rd play of the game. You don't call that play to throw to Bijan. And then Bijan created magic, right? And then the 1st play of the game, they had a defense out there we didn't want. We spread them out, hit another slant to Bijan. And then as our run game started to kind of not do what we wanted it to do or get enough, we had to get a couple easy completions and do some of those different things for him to get things going. So really the plays down the field were really called in that last drive. I don't know how deep developing the Ray.
Yeah, we're him just taking those shots.
I don't know how deep developing that Ray McLeod throw was, but those are all deep development plays. A couple went to Ray, a couple went to Kyle, a couple went to Bijan in those situations, and they were playing up at the top. So that situation definitely dictated that, and he made the right decisions on those plays.
How would you assess, Raheem, the 4 rookies on defense? Thought, Watson, Bowman.
I'll start
made some key plays.
I'll start in that order for you right there. Watts, I've seen this happen. I kind of talked about it all week. When you get those young safeties that you think can really play and can play, that first time they go out, they get in those positions and they make them. And sometimes they don't, right? And it's but to get in those positions when you're a safety is the lifeline of what you want to have. And to watch him get in those positions at ease, the one that was a touchdown, they didn't just miss. They just kind of went through. And it could have been a pick, that one. And then the other one later that he actually dropped that he got his hands on, those plays become plays for you. And to get in those positions, the play he made in the screenplay that could have been a walking touchdown that he made an excellent play on and a tackle. He had a couple plays in the run game where he's coming down in the box, filling the box. And what I saw last night was his game day confidence, and that's something I haven't seen. I've seen it in the preseason. It's not the same. When you're out there with your guys and you're playing in that moment, it is – that was a game time confidence that he had that I was like, wow, that's different. Being able to go check on those guys on the sideline and talk to those guys with great poise, great demeanor, was really fired up about how he played. Billy Bowman, exactly the same. in the run game, became a factor for us on the rush, got the half a sack, was able to blitz him a couple times. Would like to see him beat that back on that one that he had. He actually beat him inside. The guy stepped, Bake stepped outside, pain in my neck. But to see him go out there, Billy, and to be able to play efficiently and effectively, did some nice things in the passing game, gave up a couple receptions, some of those third downs where Bake made some real plays, stepping out the pocket, going to his third and fourth progression, was fired up about those guys in the secondary. And then up front, Jalen Walker, he really stepped out of the box with his physicality and his ability to run around the football. He was able to show some of the dropping stuff. He was able to show some of the inside linebacker, the outside edge, some of the things we kind of talked about, and we kind of piecemealed it in there, right? We talked about having that rule, like what was going to be 30, 30, 30, or whatever the case may be. I forget the exact number now, but maybe like 25 or 26 plays that he was able to go out there and do, and that'll only go up, so you feel great about that. And then Pierce was able to show a couple rushes off the edge where, had some questionable holding calls there and all those things. That's always going to happen in the game. Who cares? You're not complaining, but, he's got to find a way to tear off some of those plays and finish some of those plays. So going back to, I think, Will talking about finishing, if we finish a little bit better up front, getting those type of pressures, you'll feel great about your day on defense. And if you finish any of those interceptions, particularly 3 of them, man, you feel great.
Raheem, going to Jalen specifically, there was a play, I believe, he ran simulated pressure, dropped into coverage, Baker's rolling out to his right, I think it's third down, and it looks like he's in conflict a little bit there, whether to go get Baker or stay in coverage and kind of underneath.
He's a dropper,
yeah,
and he dropped into his zone, and then when Baker went to roll out, he activates, so he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. That was a really good play by him. We had some other ones where you want those guys in there. Rookie's going to make mistakes, right? So we had a couple mistakes by the rookies. I'm not going to sit and act like they played a perfect game, but they're expected to, when everything starts moving like that, when you're playing against a team like that. So, he played fast. That was not one of them. That was one of the ones where he's able to drop back and Baker starts to make a decision to run. There's other guys in the 4-man rush, and then he replaces. That was pretty good.
Do you have an update on Drake London's shoulder?
Not yet. Any of the injury stuff, I won't know confirmed things until Wednesday. I might know Tuesday, but I'm not talking to you guys tomorrow. But I won't be able to confirm anything until Wednesday for those guys and what's happening as far as practice and how they're going to go. But Drake is a tough human. I feel good about it after talking to him. I just want to get some clarity on all that type of stuff before I answer the lead because he's going to hold it to me.
Yeah, I got the whole list over here.
I don't know. That's why I answered that question that way so you don't have to ask about anybody else because I don't know.
Okay. All right. But yeah, Mooney, we could ask about Mooney.
Feel good about Mooney. We'll see more. He did warm up. He's been doing a lot of things that you guys have seen. So, that's just when I get a chance to sit down with all the guys and discuss it, our performance team that happens tomorrow, and see where we're at there. We definitely got to do it tomorrow so we can get our planning going. So we'll see. I'll have more clarity tomorrow on that.
And does Rook have to do some extra push-ups this week?
Rook did a nice job. What's that mean?
I meant the penalty on the drive there.
Man, that was tough, man. That was a good flop by Bake, man. That was
that
was basketball-esque.
All right.
That was basketball-esque. Now, Rook, yeah, he did sell it. Rook's got to do a better job of completely avoiding that, and I do. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and make an excuse for Rook. You got to be better. You can't have that penalty. That was critical to put him in field goal range. All those type of things. But that was an excellent job by Bake on the flop. And I told him that after the game yesterday.
Mike Hughes, the rookie made a couple touchdown grabs. It looked like he was in coverage. But we don't always know all the time.
Yeah, you're right. And that last one, the critical one, we should have had a post player. And it was Jesse. I don't want to act like I'm trying to sugarcoat those things. Jesse stayed in the post, and those things are critical. That eats at Jesse. He'll be upset at you guys. Don't ask him about that this week. And Mike wants help. And Mike can squeeze that thing, make a play better there too. But they make plays too. So that was one. Mike made a great play on the stick play earlier, knocking down a pass. The actual other one is not. That was the rookie to make that one and that other one, that pick. That we missed, and he's kind of he's back there in deep defense, but not. What you want. You like Mike to be a little bit closer on that Mike Hughes, the Mike Evans, kind of shake route-esque play out there on the outside. But other than that, man, Mike, stood up, and I thought AJ was absolutely phenomenal in coverage all day.
What kind of explanation do you get from the refs on the Drake London non-touchdown?
When the camera view. So, I like my view of it when we got a chance to finally see it. But not having the camera view necessary to change it or overturn it.
Felt like if they called it a touchdown.
If he called it a touchdown, I bet you would have stayed a touchdown. They did not. It's not. But it was worth challenging at that moment, at that time. I figured you asked about some of those things. You disappoint me today. But I felt it was.
Early in the season.
Yeah, I felt it was a challenge worth taking at that moment. What the heck, right?
The tackling, how was the tackling overall after your film review?
You know, that's crazy.
Early on?
I don't remember I don't want to lie, but you know how when it doesn't come up, it doesn't come up. Like it wasn't an issue.
I don't think it was.
You know, I don't want to lie about that, but I'm thinking right now.
Yeah.
I guess it's a good thing when you're not talking about it. When
Okay.
the head coach doesn't come into the defensive staff meeting this morning talking about our missed tackles, it's like really good.
Right. Okay.
You know, but like I felt like we had some really strong tackles, you know, and I'm just going to go through a couple that off the top of my head. That open field tackle by Ellis on the third down when he scrambled in the second drive of the game on Baker, who's a tough tackle in the open grass. This back, number 7, is as shifty as it gets, and he only broke out a couple times. When he broke out, I think Watt put him down once on a breakout run, and Devon Diablo was excellent in the box and his length and some of the things he was able to do. The missed tackles came on the missed opportunities in the backfield. You know, the missed sack, could have been a 4th and 4 by Zach, and ended up being a 4th and 1, or things of that nature. But like, you know, that's the game of football, right? But like the ones that would stand out being the missed tackles would be from the secondary or be from those second level players, and those did not stand out nearly. I thought it was pretty good tackling day. I had to go check with Zeno on his stats to see how we did.
And Casey Washington, how did he do making his first NFL start?
He did decent. You know, you like to see him. You know, I got him registered for 2 drops. The one on the keeper game that we dropped on the low cross, and then I got him on a drop at that last play, which unfortunately a great play by Winfield, probably by you guys, but for us and our coaching staff, we considered that a drop. Like to see him to make those plays, but he made 2 big-time third-down plays. He was able to go out there and execute and really be able to go do his job. So I was really pleased with Casey, and I see nothing but better stuff from him.
What's to say about Mike? We've talked a lot about that 18-play drive, but then when he gets the ball back, you know, with 59 seconds left, and Drake is out of the game at that point, you're already missing Mooney. So he's kind of down some pieces and still able to lead the team into a chance to cement his road.
Man, he is a dog. I don't even know if he knew. I'm just telling you, like his demeanor and like who he is and like talking to him on game day, that wasn't his question. You know, like I'm sure he cares about his guys, but that was not his mindset. Get open. And like, it is comforting to be around. It really is.
Have you ever been around a quarterback like that? Like, it's his 4th career.
You know, like, I hate to do this because I'm going to get backlash from Zeno, but like, Matt Stafford, man, was a dog like that, like, and had that arm talent and that kind of confidence. But like, I was only with Matt for a year, and that was year 97, right?
Yeah.
This is his 4th game playing, and like, he has like that type of demeanor. You know, Matt Ryan was always confident. You know, and I'm not talking stuff about one of my better friends in life, but Matt Ryan can't make some of them throws, and like he'll tell us that. You know, like, and he can, so he has like a different set of confidence even when it comes to that, and then. You know, just going in you know, the guys that you've had and you've been around, whether it be Brad Johnson and all those type of guys, he carries himself the right way and what a quarterback should look like, and then he can make some of those throws and have that kind of confidence to finish games or end games or put us in him or keep us in him. That's refreshing.
What did you make of the performance of Kyle Pitts in this game? It seemed like he had a lot of big effort plays here in this game.
I thought he did a nice job. You know, like he went out there and made a couple plays, you know, like whether it was chip flats or he was a part of the short passing game that we had to go to in order to keep the sticks moving. You know, he made a couple big-time third-down catches, I believe it was. It felt like every down felt like third down, but he made a couple big catches out there yesterday to keep things going. He had a nice catch and run on a couple plays, whether it was his stick route to the flat or really using his body and his stiff arm to create some more space for himself, and did some really good things. Did some good stuff in the run game. He did a nice job in some of his chip blocks and, you know, helping out over there in protection and doing some of those different things. And then even in the run game, he was a contributor. You know, obviously we didn't run the ball as well as we want to, and that was across the board from everybody. But, like, I thought he did a nice job.
In that 4th and 1, did he get beat across the front, or what happened on that play?
And we all got beat on that 4th and 1. You know, like, we got to do a better job in short yardage period. You know, even the one we got, we didn't block correctly, and we got to make sure we do those things right. And so we were not good on short yardage.
All right, thanks, guys.
Oh, can we follow up? We need to look ahead to the Vikings on.
What kind of guy tells me a Wednesday practice?
We got to do Tuesday. We got to do a look ahead to the Vikings.